Hey guys, this is Safi, and I have to admit that I've been thinking a lot about Pleasantview recently. When I first played the game, I was very young and I didn't care much about these premade storylines. I know it sounds heresy, and I was aware of the fact that I'm missing something big in the game, but I was always afraid of messing it up, of not being mature enough to tailor their stories, so I always avoided these families and I just kept my own Sims isolated in their own bubbles. But recently I caught myself thinking about them more and more, so I decided to come up with my own story for this neighborhood. Just a tiny disclaimer before we start. I usually do light-hearted, funny videos for this channel, and this is going to be rather depressing. So based on the game guide, this whole story starts with Don Lothario. His house is full of trash, so he has a maid coming every day, and based on their relationship, she offers other services as well. But anyway, we are advised to invite Nina Caliente over, and once we do this, he gets caught cheating by Kaylin. Now, why would I allow this to happen? Clearly I could simply avoid this with some time management and keep Don out of trouble, but you know, I don't think Don cares. Like, we see how messed up and unorganized he is just by the look of his house. But most importantly, I think he would be more careful if we were talking about Cassandra or Dina, but not with Kaylin. Actually, I don't think that Don looks at Kaylin the same way as to the others. I think he rather considers her as a service than as a real person with feelings. So in my story, this is the main reason why this happens. He might think that Kaylin will simply get over it, like it's a service she offers without feelings, but from the side of Kaylin, this might be about something deeper, and so she has all the rights to be upset. Next we join Cassandra, who is about to marry Don. The big day has come, she's super excited. We see how she wants the wedding to be perfect, she also wants to have kids with Don. But deep inside, we all know where this is going. A person like Don, especially at this young age, would never agree voluntarily to marry someone. Not even if she's rich. Don is not a gold digger. In my opinion, he would be fine living in a hole as long as he has a bed and he can get the girl for himself. So he has zero motivation to marry Cassandra. It would be nice and wholesome, but we are not here for the fairy tale. So he leaves, breaking Cassandra's heart. Cassandra's best friend is Mary Sue. We know they are childhood friends, so the first thing Cassandra would do is to call her and tell her what happened. And Mary Sue will comfort her for sure, but when things go wrong with her life as well, all they can do is to listen to each other's complaints, but none will really be able to raise the other. And this is where Darren Dreamer will enter the scene for real, as he is the next closest friend of Cassandra, and we know he has a huge crush on her. So they will probably start having phone calls more and more frequently. Moving on to the Caliente sisters, we know that Dina is a gold digger and she wants to marry Mortimer. And yes, she will propose and Mortimer will accept it. For me, this is explained by the fact that Mortimer is not really shocked by Bella's disappearance. We know that Bella was a romance sim, so maybe their marriage wasn't that perfect all along. And we also assume that Mortimer looked so concerning after Bella's disappearance that even his son Alexander believed that he killed Bella himself. So what I think is that he just wants to leave all of this behind and have a fresh start at the end of his life. He must be tired of the past, the family residence, the old dusty furniture, the ghost, and the graveyard in the garden. I don't say that this lifestyle with Dina will suit him, but he will jump into it so he can pretend that everything is fine, he has a good life, a young beautiful wife, and so on. Needless to say that when he admits this in front of his children, they are not happy about it. Alexander will suffer the most from the absence of his father, but also, just imagine Cassandra. First her fiancé left her, and now she is left alone in that huge house responsible for her brother. So Mortimer moves in with Dina, and Nina moves out without saying a word. I mean, she wanted to leave even before her sister's marriage. And I think that between these two sisters, Nina is the naive one, and I always picture Dina as the more toxic, greedy, manipulative type. So what I mean is that Nina probably longs for some fresh air away from Dina's probably toxic presence, and I think she also hopes that having an apartment on her own will also lead her to get closer to Don. So she just packs her things and leaves the house and all the belongings to Dina and Mortimer, and she starts a new life on her own with the little money she has. Next we would meet the Broke family. So at this stage not much happens to them. Dustin is failing at school, he sees more potential in being a criminal than in receiving an education, but he would soon share his first kiss with Angela. We see that these two are not compatible at all, and I know that many people playing them would make them break up and get Angela and Dirk together and Lilith with Dustin. I just don't see this in them. In my opinion, Angela is always doing her best to avoid any conflict, no matter what happens. And Dustin, I think he's a type of person, especially with this criminal background, who needs this kind of stability and tolerance for granted, but then he also wants more. So I think he has the motivation to look for adventures elsewhere, but not to leave Angela, who always forgives everything and provides a really stable background for him. And next we arrive to the Dreamers. By now, Darren and Cassandra are probably talking on a daily basis, and Darren is super excited that he finally has a possibility to get close to this woman who seemed so mysterious, so untouchable before. So one day while they are on the phone, he just brings up this idea that Cassandra should come over for a change. And then she comes over, and they start talking and talking all the way through the night, and of course Darren has no courage to make the first move. But then, Cassandra suddenly leans over and kisses him, and this might seem super cute for the first look, but in this act I don't see any passion honestly, at least not from Cassandra. Of course Darren is super happy, but for Cassandra this is more about seeking a shelter from this huge storm of losing Dawn and Mortimer and having to deal with all this, and also the pressure to be a role model for Alexander. And Darren is there for her. It's almost like ever since he saw her, he was preparing for this moment to come. The Pleasant. We have Mary Sue. I wouldn't call her an overachiever because it's clearly not like she achieves anything, but she's trying hard. So hard actually that this even ruins her marriage. So Daniel's problem is that he's not getting enough attention, and so he's cheating with the maid. But why the maid? You could say that because it's convenient, because she comes around the house every day, so it's not that suspicious. But I think that the main reason is deeper than that. I think that as Daniel felt himself more and more ignored, he saw Kaylin every day coming to the house, taking care of the dishes, the trash, the entire property. And while she's doing all this stuff that Mary Sue probably ignores as well, she also laughs at Daniel's jokes and listens to his stories. So needless to say, he falls in love because he sees Kaylin as this ultimate caring figure, and he wants her to be there and take care of him as well. So Mary Sue gets fired. She realizes that Daniel is cheating on her as well. It's a terrible day for her, but also the new beginning. They divorce. Daniel moves out to his sister and her family. Lilith and Angela stays with their mom for now. There's not much to tell about them right now. Their life will get a lot more exciting when they grow up. So because I don't want to post an enormously long video, I'd like to cut the story here for now. Consider this as an introduction and setup for the main story, and brace yourself because the true depression will kick in next Monday. So in the next episode we will discuss whether Mortimer will find any happiness in his brand new life. What will happen to Don now that he lost 2 of his relationships, and also the future of the teenagers. And everything else as well, I just don't want to spoiler all of it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know this topic was covered by many people before me, so I hope I can add some new aspects to it. Let me know in the comments how you tailor these stories in your neighborhood. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.